Well, the good news is it looks like it's working better now. I guess that's something, right? How you guys doing? Thank you so much for your patience as we're working through all this. There was a bunch of issues with the streaming strength, and I think we got them killed and taken care of on the relaunch. So I hope we'll be good now, hopefully. But welcome to the Friday show, as always. It is the end of your week. Hopefully you had a great week, and thank you so much for spending part of your treasured weekend here with me on the Paranormal Portal. And I have, of course, Mr. Sheldon Thomas, the big branch himself, right here with me. So how you doing, Sheldon?
Oh, doing solid, doing good, feeling great 'cause it's Friday, off to our weekends. Hopefully you guys are off and having a good weekend planned ahead of you. But all we know is that it's time for some paranormal.
It is time for some paranormal, and as always, just hope you'll relax, kick back, and enjoy the ride. It's going to be a little bit of an abridged show because of the technical difficulties, but I think we're okay now. I think we're good. Hopefully all you guys are having a good stream out there now, and it's looking good for you guys. It was just buffering so bad we had to, it was unwatchable. And I'm not saying my show's like an Academy Award winner, but usually you can get through an episode. But that was just all lag and delay and stuff. Sheldon, you sound better, though.
Oh, I'm feeling much better at this point. Still recovering. Still feeling fatigued and tired, but we are stronger every day.
Every day. Good, good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, also continue to send prayers to Portal Mom for a speedy recovery. She's definitely, dealing with it. So all your prayers and love and support and encouragement and well wishes to her are greatly appreciated by us all. So send her your love, send her your light, send her your prayers, and we'll get her back in here and being a part of the audience. So anyway, she's had a tough couple of days. So we are going to be getting to the news. Obviously, the news is first, and then we're going to get to actually a couple of things tonight, Sheldon. So Batman himself has sponsored a T-shirt giveaway to give away to anyone. And so tonight in the second hour, we're going to just do a roll call and do shout outs so that you can get a list of names. And when you get a list of names, you're going to load that wheel up if you would. And we're going to spin a winner tonight. And that's special thanks to Batman, who, he did it. He sent me a donation, and he said, "Oh, I didn't cover shipping." He sent me another one. So.
Well, thank you very much, Batman. That is very sweet of you.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's in here right now or not, but everybody make sure to thank Batman. That was very sweet, very nice, and it's just the caliber of you guys. I mean, you guys are incredible, and special thanks to Kay Love for all of her kindness. She's just continually such a generous, supportive soul, and she's been really instrumental in helping all this grow too. So, we're going to do that a little later. And thank you, Rachel. Rachel says, "Love and healing light to Portal Mom." Thank you very much. Yeah. And so we're going to do that later in the show. That'll be the second hour. Stick around for that. You got to be present to win. We can't just throw shirts out the window and hoping somebody grabs them. Yeah. So we are going to do all that. We're going to do the news. We're going to do the question of the week tonight because tomorrow night, first time co-host to the show, Jimmy Cipriano will be here, and I'm not going to ask him to to read questions of the week yet. I'm not sure he's got his feet under him yet, but so we'll cover that tonight. We're going to get to some weird ancient technologies, and we're going to get to some black-eyed kids. We're going to get to Cryptid Corner. There is so much going on tonight. I don't know where we're going to end up, but we'll get as far as we can. So, Sheldon, you got a hankering for some the news?
I love the news. I'm hankering for some news.
All right. And an antihistamine, maybe? No. Decongestant? Yeah. All right. So, without further delay, let's get to it. Let's see what's going on in the news, ladies and gentlemen. amazing. I'm like a DJ up in here, Sheldon.
That's right.
I'm just waka 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 what? Sorry.
Plenty of practice.
You can tell I'm getting my energy back a little bit, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I feel reborn. Believe me, I was literally dragging things behind me that shouldn't be dragging. So, use your imagination for how that works out. But yeah, I was just dead to the world almost, but I pulled through. By God, and I feel that portal fire burning beneath me as I get ready to get into some news. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. I'll be your anchor with my co-anchor, Sheldon Thomas, as we dive into tonight's news and find out just what's going on in the world and maybe leave you a little more educated, a little more informed than when you came. And
that's right.
Hopefully we accommodate that at least. I'm not saying it's always interesting, but at least it's maybe something you never heard before. So
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power. That's right. And let's get to the first one. And this is from unexplained-mysteries.com, ladies and gentlemen, which is an amazing site. Please support them. Please visit them. Use your browsing time to go visit that site, because every visit turns into monetary goodness for them to keep the ball rolling. So, as they have advertising and stuff. So, definitely want you to support them. And the first article tonight has to do with a cursed painting, Sheldon. You ever heard of a cursed painting?
Only the legend of that one painting guy who likes, that guy.
From the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
Yeah, that guy. That's the only cursed painting I know.
Yeah, well, this one's a different one, but it is under the headings of ghosts and hauntings. And here you go. The article is, cursed painting strikes again after spate of mishaps for new owner. And it's got a 20-pound tag on it. So they want to... It's obviously over in across the pond. Somebody had it across the pond, but it says, an allegedly cursed painting that was sold in a charity shop back in August 2023 has since changed hands several times. When this seemingly innocuous portrait of a young girl was purchased from a charity shop in Hastings, East Sussex last summer, the seller assumed that it would be the last they'd ever see of it. To their surprise, however, the painting is returned to the shop the very next day. Ooh. That's not a big turnaround, Sheldon.
No.
Before too long, it had sold again, only to be returned a second time, a short time later, with the new owner complaining that she had witnessed shadow figures in her house after bringing it home. Keen to take advantage of the new painting's seemingly cursed status, the charity shop's owner placed it back in the front window with a haunting message. She's back, sold twice, and returned twice. Are you brave enough? The cursed painting soon went viral online, prompting the most recent buyer, James Kislingberry. Okay, that's a different one. Never seen that before. Managing director of the London Bridge Experience, to buy it for over $2,000. Wow. For him, the curse began to take effect even before he had picked it up, with his car breaking down on the way to the shop. After putting the portrait on display, his exhibition began to suffer all manner of problems, ranging from cameras breaking down to flickering lights to TVs randomly shutting off. In one instance, his father-in-law fell ill and his toaster exploded. His toaster exploded, my God. While in another, workers claimed to have witnessed a mysterious entity in a black skirt within the vicinity of the painting. We've had a couple of floods on the site between November and December, said Kislingberry. We came in one evening and the basement was flooded. We've had small leaks in the past, but nothing on this scale. I know a cynic would say it's just a coincidence, but given the volume of things which keep happening, I do find myself questioning whether there's more to the painting than meets the eye.
Don't sound like coincidence to me.
Yeah, I would assume this is the painting that they're showing, but I just wonder where's a dark skirted woman going to appear, because it's all a white background, or at least, eggshell white kind of thing. I don't know. Very interesting.
It sounded like there was something around there. Maybe that was a sighting of an apparition, maybe, is what they're implying.
Yeah, maybe. But whatever it is, yeah. Craziness, the old cursed painting. So, it's funny because if you look at online sites like eBay and stuff, you can find a whole huge section over there on haunted dolls. haunted dolls, cursed items, Dybbuk boxes, any number of, ridiculousness on top of ridiculousness. But some of it, I imagine, is probably legit. And then you got to ask yourself, why would you willingly invite what could only be presumed to be really negative energies into your home? Why would you do that? And for the life of me, I can't figure it out.
Well, first off, we got to give some thanks in the house for Lane for gifting 5 supporters to the channel.
Oh, very nice, Lane. Thank you very much. Appreciate the love. Absolutely. And so what do you think of the whole let me buy some haunted object? What do you think of that?
Oh, it's got to be that curiosity. It's got to be that I mean, why else would anyone willingly do that? Maybe someone who doesn't believe it. Maybe someone who just likes the idea of that kind of scariness attracting to their amusement, or to the bridge owner guy,
Well, here's the thing.
There's a story to be told.
Sure. Here's the thing. Full disclosure. Standing here naked symbolically in front of you. I would, if I was a single person with no children in the house, I would do that. I would buy items that might be haunted and stuff, because I think it would be fascinating to have basically your own fishbowl of what may be paranormal energy, to investigate, to research, to just, constantly put cameras on it and just stream it. I think it would be fascinating, that, and there's some items like that out there on the web. You can find those where people have haunted dolls with the cameras on them, and you just tune in and watch them. Maybe they'll move, maybe they won't. I don't know. And I imagine, 90, 95, 98% of them are all a bunch of, bunk with fish lines. But there's the occasional, you might find one. But I thought about that because I was like, well, God, if you're going to locations looking for dark things, or just things, I'm not saying everybody goes and looks for dark things, but you're looking for proof or measurable proof of the paranormal, well, why not establish your own collection? But because I am married and because I have a child and, children and a child and a family and all that, I wouldn't do it, because I don't necessarily think that if I brought something into the house that it would necessarily target me. I think it would target someone else, and then it becomes a huge liability. And so, but I think the idea makes sense if you're a researcher, if you're a person that's really curious about this kind of stuff. But I think the liabilities are just way too steep for most of us to do that kind of thing. Like, 99% of the time you probably bring home just a stupid doll with some makeup on it or something. But what about that one time you brought home the real thing? And then you got an Annabelle, It's like, no, thank you.
So, yeah, it's just stupid, because then, what ends up happening is you either get rid of it anyway if it's really bad, or you end up cleansing it, and then it's just useless.
And then it's a brick, if you're good. If you're any good at it.
Yes, if you're good at cleansing.
There's some people that aren't very good at it. But, I'm just throwing that out there. Cleansing is it's an exercise of faith, as well as spiritual ability. So, because you've got to force an entity or a vibration out, and to do that, you've got to make it so that it can't stay in, and that's a measure of frequency and vibration and polarities and such. So, it's not a small thing, really. All right, well, there you go. That's the first article up for tonight. I think it's interesting. It doesn't surprise me that there are real cursed items out there. And then there's the other part of it. If you believe it's cursed because you believe it is.
True, there's that aspect.
Yeah, if
you're putting belief into it, you're putting
Right.
that energy forth and making it even stronger, possibly.
Right, you're reinforcing that energy of an object, or maybe even creating it, like a thought tulpa of sorts. So anyway, very cool. That's the first one tonight. We've got more, but wait, there's more, because next up in the news comes this little gem that I pulled up. I don't know. I think most of you guys will probably be familiar with this. This is a very famous name in music, but mostly like movie music and stuff like that. And when I say the name, some of you guys are going to go, oh yeah, that guy. And others of you are going to go, who? Well, I'm talking about Andrew Lloyd Webber. That's who I'm talking about. Do you know that name, Sheldon?
It's familiar.
Okay. I imagine a lot of our chat does. I think, God, isn't he like, he was wrote the music for some of the most popular Broadway shows, I think. Andrew Lloyd Webber. Yep. So anyway, well, I'm sure the article will probably tell us too. I if I read a little bit rather than just having a dialogue. But according to a ghosts and hauntings category, Andrew Lloyd Webber once had his home blessed due to a poltergeist. He had a poltergeist, Sheldon.
Wow.
Well, let's find out what happened. This is an article from January 4th, which is, well, yesterday. It says the composer and impresario. What's an impresario? Jeez.
Yeah.
Can you Google that for me, please?
Sure.
Claimed in a recent interview that his former abode had been haunted by a mischievous ghost. Lloyd Webber, who is known for his for creating the music for several legendary musicals, including Phantom of the Opera and Cats, well, the first one anyway, was recently asked by the Telegraph if he was aware of any ghosts that might haunt the various theaters that he has owned and worked in over the years. It's a good question, as stories of ghosts roaming back rooms of various historical theaters in the UK are not uncommon, and he has certainly been in many such places throughout his long career. The Theatre Royal, Drury Lane, for example, is said to be home to the mysterious man in grey, and there are numerous other historical theaters said to be haunted within the city of London alone. I think the city of London is probably just haunted. God, as old as that is, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Surprisingly, though, it wasn't a theater, but one of his own homes in which Lloyd Webber had experienced something potentially supernatural. I did have a house in Eaton Square, which had a poltergeist, he said. He would do things like take theater scripts and put them in a neat pile in some obscure room. From the sounds of it, though, the ghost didn't pose much of an issue for him. In the end, we had to get a priest to come out and bless it, and it left, he said. Well, there you go. That's kind of anticlimactic, I guess. But
well, I guess he got it blessed and fixed it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. So
an impresario is the one who sponsors or produces entertainment, especially the director of an opera company.
Well, there you go. I guess that's him. We have visits. We have visits, and looks like two spookish. Two spooks.
Two spooks.
We're visiting, one on the other side of my monitor and one apparently right next to me. So two of them are visiting. Welcome. Enjoy the show. All right. Let's get on with the last article for the news tonight. And this one is also from unexplained-mysteries.com. And I don't know why I even pulled this up. It's so dumb. But I did anyway. Maybe because it's so dumb. But did you know, Sheldon? Did you know that it turns out, according to unexplained-mysteries.com, it turns out that Neptune and Uranus are almost identical in color.
Wow. I didn't know I needed to know that. Wow.
All right. Well, there you go. Now you know. So,
wow. They don't look similar in color? What?
I don't know. That's what it says. It's photographed by the Voyager spacecraft. These are two different images from the Voyager missions from NASA. For decades, Neptune was thought to be a rich blue, and Uranus... I guess I should say Uranus. Uranus. Was thought to be a pale green. Patrick Gerard, Joseph Irwin, in many images of the two outer gas giants of the solar system, Neptune typically looks a rich blue, while Uranus comes across as a pale green. But I was expecting brown.
No.
Sorry.
Yep,
That's the low-hanging fruit. But now our new study, published by Monthly Notices in the Royal Astronomical Society, has revealed that these two ice giants are actually very similar shades of greenish blue. The study follows our previous work of 2022 that analyzed, oh God, this is one of those. Apparently they're the same color, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome. You probably didn't know that before tonight. And there isn't enough here to interest me into talking about it for 20 some minutes that it would take me to read through this. But
Look, a little disclaimer. Maybe scientifically that information is useful, but just right off the bat, to me, it seems like a waste of resources and time.
hot off the presses, they're almost the same color. Well, maybe there's a Trivial Pursuit game or something where that
I mean,
knowledge.
maybe that's important, but I don't see it.
Yeah, if you're an astrophysicist, maybe. But yeah, to me, it doesn't matter. I'm probably never going to see either of those two, other than this photo here. So, anyway, now you know. In case you didn't know, now you know. You're welcome. All right, there we go. I guess it's going to wrap up the news for tonight because I'm done talking about that. I should have looked at how long it was. I didn't know it was going to be a big scientific explanation for why they're both pale green blue. Who cares?
Wow, that's cool.
Fresh in from the who cares bin. There you go. But sleep better tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I guess we're more alike than we thought. Feel like a kumbaya moment, doesn't it? I don't know. Trying to make something work out of it. But anyway, that's it for the news. Hopefully you learned something and had a good time doing it. So let's get back to the rest of the show. There you go. Most trusted news, ladies and gentlemen. Paranormal Portal's news desk. Most
You know
trusted.
what? Because, in a way, that's okay that you show the news segments. It just shows how trustworthy we are.
Yeah.
We're giving you the news no matter what kind of news it is, no matter how useless it might be.
That's right. You ever watch CNN? I mean, come on. It's chock full of useless. Anyway, any of the news programs really, but I'm not just picking on CNN, but certainly I'm fine with picking on CNN too, but
Yeah.
it's not just them. Let me see. There. Had to clear my throat. All right. Too late. You missed it. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna do the question of the week. I think maybe now. What else was I gonna do? I was gonna do something else right after here. But I gotta look at
What a
my.
conundrum.
It is a conundrum because we got a lot of things to get to. We really do. But I'm just trying to remember which thing I was going to get to first. I guess we can start with the question of the week. Again, we owe Chucky Danger our love and heartfelt thank you for once again making the questions of the week work and continuing to keep them updated and timely and amazing. So thank you, Chucky.
Chucky's amazing.
Did you ever know that you're our hero? Sorry. Just going into a quick song for Chucky. But yeah, we're going to go to the question of the week, ladies and gentlemen. And this is from our Discord community. If you're not familiar with it, the Paranormal Portal has a Discord. And it's open to anybody. It's if you're on YouTube, the link is posted or pinned to the top of the chat. And you can just click that link and join. We'd love to have you over there. I'm sorry?
It is not pinned.
Oh, it is not because I relaunched the stream, didn't I?
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Sheldon will put it in there. Thank you, Sheldon.
I will.
Sheldon
Okay.
will put in a link to the Discord, and you just click it, and you too can become a member. And what the question of the week is, it's our opportunity to ask you guys your thoughts on some of the strange stuff that we discuss. Throughout the course of all the shows, you hear our opinion, and this is our opportunity to hear yours. And I mean this as sincerely as it's possible to mean it, that I have learned so much listening and reading your guys' response. So thank you to everybody that participates in these. I'm really been floored many times by how uniquely and interestingly you guys look at these topics and bring new thoughts to the table. So I really do love this segment. So this is the question of the week. And if you look on this page, this is what our Discord server looks like. When you join, there's a list of the servers over here. There's the Paranormal Portal. And if you join, you'll be on the general tab here. And Maggie put up cute Joey saying hi. Thank you, Maggie. That's adorable. But what we're looking at is, well, these are all different discussion threads over here. And you're welcome to peruse and take part in those discussions. If there's a topic area you're specifically interested in, or if you want to add something to it, please do. But we are looking at the Discord question of the week. That's all that crap just coming out of my lungs, dude. It's so awesome, but it sounds gross. It sounds like I'm gurgling. I'm gurgling yogurt or something over here. It's like Jesus.
Coughing up little hulks.
Yeah, no kidding. So, question of the week is where we're at now, and this is where Chucky asked the question, and you all get to weigh in on it. This is the last time. Where is it? Didn't he do it? Wait a minute.
There's the shape-shifting one. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Yeah, we don't have a question of the week.
We don't have one. Oh, no.
Oh, no, Chucky. What happened? Oh, my God. Tender bears, Chucky. No, that's okay. But this is where we do it. If we do it and when we do it. And I guess we won't do it tonight. I didn't know he didn't do it. I just have gotten so used to him doing it. And I don't know. Maybe he was, because I've been doing them on Saturdays. So he probably thought, well, I'll get her done. Or maybe something's come up. I hope everything's okay. Is he in here? Chucky? Are you in here?
He was. He said hi and bye.
Oh, did he? Oh.
Yeah, he had to go.
Oh, I'm sorry you had to go. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. So we obviously won't get to a question of the week, but this is a great opportunity to promote our Discord.
Oh, Maggie said Chucky thought we were still on the one before. He had to go, but he said earlier.
Oh, okay.
He thought we were still on shape-shifting.
Oh, no, we covered that one. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's okay. This is the first miscommunication we've had with Chucky. He's been doing it for a while now and does a hell of a job. I really do appreciate it.
No complaints.
None at all. If I had a tally sheet and you saw everything I screw up on the show, there's so much you guys don't even know because I do my best to cover it as well as I can. So it happens. But this is our Discord. We'd love to have you get involved over here, guys. So if you use Discord or if you're willing to learn Discord, please click that link and join up. There's literally so many discussion groups like Bigfoot. These are the pictures Maggie had posted from her interesting trek into the outback near where she lives, actually, in Australia. But she found some prints and some weird rock stuff going on. And we've been discussing that for a couple of shows. Had some really great discussions. Oh, she measured it today. Okay, so it's 2 feet by 2 feet 3 inches. So it is almost square.
Oh,
but
my gosh, Maggie.
That's
Look
got
at
to
that
be.
investigating.
I know. She's been doing great. Yep.
Amazing job, Maggie.
Yep. Wow, look at how thick that is, too. I didn't realize it was that thick. My God.
My God.
Huh. That's a big Hummer. Yeah, this is very interesting. But she found this big rock was removed from this crevice here, and there's a little rock in there, and it looked like, it occurred to me. I was sitting here looking at these pictures, going, well, why is this rock in here? Because it wasn't there when the rock was in there, so it was placed in there. And then I thought, oh my God, could that have been like a rudimentary fulcrum that was introduced to help pry this rock out? Yeah. And it just made me it slammed me. I was like, oh my God, this could be like mechanical reasoning going on here. So this is the print that they were casting and such, but some great things that she discovered just on this happenstance journey out into the woods, just as a hobbyist, and she's found what I think at least is pretty solid evidence of some pretty in-depth problem solving.
Oh my God, Maggie, such a good job. Wow.
Yep. So you can catch all this on the Bigfoot thread. There's Dogman, Ghost, UFO, extraterrestrial encounters, cryptids, music, strange phenomena, etc. So there's just many different things up here that you can check out, including several of our members are creators of different things. And we have the Paranormal Portal Marketplace right here where you can check out the Paranormal Portal gear. There's Neil. Neil's wearing his hoodie. Very cool.
Nice.
Looks good. Looks good, Neil. You're making that look good. There's Chucky himself wearing a t-shirt, Chucky in a hoodie. Chucky's been a great supporter too. Crystals and jewelry. Yeah, there's people making beads and doing. This is Love Rocks Company. This is David Barnes' fiance. She's makes these incredible, mystical contraptions. I wear one all the time. They sent me one, and I'm wearing it all the time like a necklace. So
I love this community so much.
yeah, this community's been amazing. So there's a lot going on here on our Discord. It's not just, hey, I like this show. Let's talk about this show. It's talking about the phenomena. There's, every thread has just so many links and things to check out. So if whatever you're interested in, you're going to find stuff here. That reminds me of Men in Black.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, that's the needles. Yep.
Oh, Rachel said you could find witness stories in the link I sent you in Discord. Liminal Earth. I think it's pretty easy to navigate if you want some extra content tonight.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, we got a ton of content tonight, but thank you. I will definitely be perusing that, Rachel, and starting to add some of that to the shows. So thank you very, very much.
Yes.
Rachel's one of those people that's like, she's almost like she's the Hermione to my Harry Potter. She's just like, she researches things so well. And she helped us get in connection with the gentleman who did do the fairy article from out of Utah that I really liked and was trying to figure out how to find the guy. And I was looking and looking, couldn't figure it out. And literally Rachel in about 10 minutes came back and said, oh yeah, this is him. Here's his Facebook and you can reach out to him here. And I'm like, oh, thank you. So I did. I reached out to him and he's going to be a guest on the podcast.
Rachel always gets it right.
Yeah, we really have an amazing group of people attached to the show. And I mean all of you guys. So, this isn't just to single out, but, I could say wonderful things about each and every one of you, how you've been there and supported and are promoting this what we're doing over here all the time. So thank you to you all. You guys are you're way better than I deserve, but I'm really glad you like me anyway. So, all right. So this is basically the end of the Discord question of the week. So I guess we'll polish off this and we'll start heading towards some of the myriad of other articles that we got pulled up to get to. I did want to talk about some strange phenomena stuff tonight in terms of ancient technologies next. And these I find very interesting because I think there's definite merit to suggest that our ancient counterparts had either knowledge or access to technologies that were so advanced for their time, much beyond what they should have been able to do. And again, the big name that I always drop is Pumapunka. That's the ancient site in South America where there is precision carved blocks of granite that have laser-like precision. You can't even slide a piece of paper between these blocks. They are so well cut to form to each other. But not only that, like the megaliths and the obelisks that were carved out in Egypt seem to suggest that it almost looks like they were somehow able to soften up the rock and use like an ice cream scooper to scoop out underneath these things. It's crazy. If you look at some of those pictures, they're available online. This isn't made up or anything, but it suggests there's some process that was utilized in these excavations and constructions that's well beyond what we could do. Not to mention, you've got blocks that are 130 tons or better being, moved and situated with absolute precision using methods that these people should not have any clue about. It shouldn't have been much more than they could lift or maybe use rudimentary levers for. But these were, these are megalithic structures like Stonehenge, a great example. How did that happen? So lots of things about ancient technologies would suggest either they were helped by advanced civilizations to do things, or they were given knowledge to do them. I guess either way, it's the same. I don't know. In my head, that made much more sense than it did verbally.
No, I got you. Yeah, I understand.
That's because you speak fluent me.
Yeah, I do. It's because I come from you.
That's because you're from these loins. All right. Well, at any rate, I do try to make sense. So we're going to get to an article right away here where we're going to start looking into a little bit of this. And this one, I think, has to do with did the ancients have levitation, the ability to levitate objects? And I think this is a great one. This one comes from curiosmos.com, which is a fascinating site full of just a huge archive of several different articles by this gentleman named Ivan Petricevic. Yeah. And he's been involved with like Ancient Aliens and stuff as well. So the TV shows. So he's kind of one of the alumni that's in there and has been researching this stuff for a long time. But here's the article, and this is again from Curiosmos, and they says, Unwritten Mystery, did ancient civilizations know the secrets of levitation? Now, there is stories among some Buddhist temples from thousands of years ago that suggest that they used some kind of horns or series of horns in unison to levitate large rocks into positions and stuff like this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there does seem to be examples around the world of them, manipulating these huge pieces of stone that should not have been possible. So, what kind of technology could have allowed the construction of the Temple of Jupiter in Baalbek, Lebanon? This ancient structure is a jewel of ancient engineering. The foundation of the Temple of Jupiter is home to 3 of the most massive stones ever quarried and moved by mankind. And do you think of that? Even still, that record holds. And this is way back then. In total, the 3 stones weigh an average of 3,000 tons. Imagine transporting something of similar size in today's world. Would that even be possible? Yeah, I don't know. I see there's an image that I was thinking of showing tonight. I don't even think it's still up enough that I could, but it showed like they tried to load this huge granite block onto a regular semi-trailer, and they folded the trailer. I mean, it folded it down to the ground.
I believe that.
And this is not 130, or 3,000 tons. This is like maybe, 8 tons or, whatever. But it folded that truck trailer like it was origami, crazy.
Isn't that one of the theories with the pyramids? Is that those giant slabs that they use?
Well, sure.
Those horns.
Well, I don't know about the horns, if that necessarily comes. The pyramids are just kind of this big question mark, because with the pyramids, a lot of people believe the pyramids were already there well before the first Egyptians arrived there. So the belief is that at least several of the pyramids, the big 3, and the Sphinx were there long before the Egyptians ever arrived.
Wait, what? That's news to me. I thought they're the ones who built the pyramids.
Well, that's the prevailing logic, is that they must be the ones that built them, but no. Because if you look at even their more modern attempts during the Egyptian dynasties, they're already falling apart. And they were never very mechanically true, but those original 3 are just absolutely solid and perfect. So even their attempts to duplicate the work that they allegedly stumbled into have failed miserably by the test of time. So, Yep, very true. Wow. Apparently very true. I can't say what's true or what's not, but at any rate, yeah, I don't have that image, but it was a great image. But anyway, let's keep going on this article. The more we explore our planet, the more the mysteries we encounter. Thousands of years ago, countless ancient civilizations called the planet their home. Across nearly all continents, sophisticated cultures arose that would go on to construct some of the most defying ancient monuments we've ever encountered. From pyramids, walls, megalithic temples, and towers thousands of years ago, different cultures erected challenging monuments using limited technology, or at least so we're told. But what if, for a second, we consider the possibility that we don't actually know everything about the ancient humankind, and that we don't really know how some of the most sophisticated monuments in the history of humankind were built? What if what we know is not nearly close to the truth? No, this isn't a conspiracy theory, but food for thought. Stop for a moment and rid yourself of the pre-imprinted image of thoughts sold throughout the years through history books. Rid yourself of the notion that we know it all and that we are the most complex and advanced society to ever exist on the planet. Rid yourself of the mainstream ideology that many of us have firmly held on to as ultimate fact. What if great ancient civilizations, such as the ancient Egyptians, the Olmec, the Inca, pre-Inca developed technologies that were long gone? What if mythology is more than a myth? And what if certain legends bear truth within them? What if some of the greatest megalithic structures built on the planet's surface by human hands were constructed with the help of a technology that is alien to us today? What if we can't recognize the technology today and dismiss it without research? Humankind was advanced already more than 12,000 years ago. When I say advanced, I don't mean like today's society is, but in its own way. They were sophisticated, self-taught, understood, and perceived the world very differently from how we perceive it today. This state of mind may have played a role in the achievements of ancient civilizations. Step aside from mainstream dogma and look at ancient sites such as the Pyramid of Giza, Teotihuacan, Ollantaytambo, and the Sacsayhuaman with different eyes. Take a look at Stonehenge, for example, and ask yourself, is there more to it than just the stones? If your answer is yes, then you've just shown yourself how influenced you are by pre-imposed definitions of the ancient site. To show you an example of a recent study that's shown that Stonehenge was built so that its megalithic stones were capable of amplifying sound waves and containing them within the stone circle. Oh, there's actually a link to it. Well, that would be interesting to look into. But many of the other sites are fascinating examples of ingenuity and the level of advancement of our ancestors. Many of these sites defy our understanding of the capabilities of ancient man. I'm always left awestruck when looking at images of precisely cut blocks of Pumapunku. Yeah, baby. Or the precise drill holes present at the site. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to say that one today. That whatever this word is. Walls never cease to amaze me, and neither does the megalithic complex of Ollantaytambo. Ollantaytambo, sorry. Observing the care, precision, and elegance in which these sites were made, I can't help to wonder whether these were built with ordinary primitive tools, sticks and stones, or whether there was some higher technology involved in the process without forcing a conspiracy. I'd subscribe to the latter. I firmly believe that many of the megalithic sites we study today have not revealed all of their secrets. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's no question. Even with like Pumapunku, we don't know exactly what that site was. We just know that it's littered with these blocks that are absolutely precisely, carved and made to be puzzle-tight, templates to each other. And there's an engineer that reconstructed what he thought could have been built by all these scattered stones. But it also looks like the place might have been destroyed by a big deluge. And this is like 13,000 feet in the mountains. And so
Wow.
that's a huge deluge.
Yeah.
Meaning a big water came and pushed it all down. So kind of does make you subscribe to the flood theory. Let's see.
Weren't there? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I was just a lot younger and I just don't remember it as well. But didn't they find boats on top of mountains? I swear I read this at one point.
Yeah, they believe one of the places they believe is possibly the landing site of Noah's Ark. It's on top of a mountain.
Okay, I thought so.
Another fascinating example is Göbekli Tepe, an ancient site I really admire, not only because of what it signifies, but because it's a perfect example of how advanced our ancestors were. Göbekli Tepe, for one, was built around 12,000 years ago. By history books, we're told that during this time, the region where Göbekli Tepe was built was inhabited by hunter-gatherer societies. The people that built Göbekli Tepe created something unprecedented. Never before in history was such a massive site built using such heavy stones. Analysis of the site was revealed that at least 200 massive stone pillars, averaging in weight 10 tons, these blocks were transported from local quarries, the furthest of which was located some 1,000 meters. And what boggles the mind is not only the size, 10 tons, of the pillars, but the notion that these stones were transported and then raised into position, forming 16 stone circles totaling 200 pillars. The curious part is that there's even heavier stones at Göbekli Tepe. Researchers have revealed the existence of pillars that weigh up to 20 tons, and one block weighs up to 50 tons. How did our ancestors pan on moving such heavy blocks 12,000 years ago? Yeah, that's more than just a team of oxen or something. I mean, literally. You can't just roll that kind of stuff on logs. And the other problem is, a lot of people say, well, they would do these rudimentary rolling log paths where they just take the back log out, put it in front, and just continually rolling these stones on these logs. But the problem is once you hit about, close to 10 tons, those logs would turn into splinters, just having these big blocks rolling over them. So, I mean, the wood just wouldn't handle that kind of weight. So
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
it boggles the mind even to think that this site was created when history tells us that the region was home to nomads chasing foods around the valley. Göbekli Tepe is obvious evidence to the contrary and proves that 12,000 years ago, advanced societies already inhabited the earth. These cultures, which may have been the remnants of even older societies, were well taught in masonry, quarrying, geometry, and engineering. But where did they get this knowledge from? Was it passed down from generation to generation? Was it written in stone? Were the records erased? Or such a site really built by hunter-gatherers? Now, I'm not trying to downplay our ancestors' capabilities. I'm merely trying to understand a wider picture while trying to keep an open mind. Two main theories to explain Göbekli Tepe. It was either a temple or an astronomical observatory. But given that we've only excavated about 5% of the site, we can't possibly know, and it's arrogant to even try explaining the site with so little information in our hands.
5%? Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, it's like the oceans. That's it. We know it all because we've seen 5. Sites such as Göbekli Tepe and Ollantaytambo, again, all these other sites, and many others attest to the elevated technological degree of ancient civilizations. And when I say elevated, I make no comparison to the technology we have today, nor do I imply that the trucks and cranes, that they had trucks or cranes. But what I do believe is that they had uncovered secrets of manipulating stone in a way that we have not done so today. That's a great point too, because when you think of the arc of our technologies, they kind of follow, I don't know, there's like a relationship to each idea to the next. And so it becomes this one stream of possible discoveries based upon prior discoveries. And so our technology is developed in the way they have, which brought us to this day. But let's say there was a different technology arc, like for instance, sound. Like I'm sure that the technologies today were not based on sound. Obviously, they were based on levers and and mechanics and mechanical ability to create machines and create solutions to overcome problems. But what if another technology would be to observe the effects of sound and to have such an ability to work on resonances and frequencies and such that you could develop a whole series of technologies based on that, which then would create new technologies and so on and so forth. And it's kind of the whole idea behind some of the criticisms like SETI, that we're the SETI project is listening to the stars, looking for other techno signatures much like our own. Well, what if those people didn't develop technologies much like our own? What if they developed different kind of technologies? So in other
Like they
words,
branched out a different path of
right,
technology.
maybe they
Yeah.
never hit radio waves. Like that may not have been on their technological spectrum. They
On
might
a
have,
different kind of wave that we can't detect, maybe.
right. There might be other resonance waves or streams of information they were able to create that didn't rely on those same mechanics. And so
Mm.
you'd be listening to dead space and a lot of natural background.
Imagine how much chatter there could be.
Well, exactly. I mean, I think probably, I don't know, but I suspect that the real discoveries will be when we understand how the quantum field is affected by technologies and stuff, and we can look for maybe there's a way to look at the quantum field and see where other technologies may be. You know, I don't know
Hmm.
if that even makes sense, but that's just what popped in my head because I mean it's the most rudimentary form of matter, right? Everything is
Yeah,
from the quantum, so. I don't know if that even makes sense. But anyway, that's me talking because I got a microphone and you don't.
true.
So, what if among these secrets is the technology of levitation? Bear with me. What kind of technology could have allowed the construction of the Temple of Jupiter in Baalbek, Lebanon? This ancient structure is a jewel of ancient engineering. The foundation of the Temple of Jupiter is home to 3 of the most massive stones ever to be quarried or moved by humankind. In total, the 3 stones weigh an average of 3,000 tons. Imagine transporting something of similar size in today's world. Would that even be possible? Even if we were to break down the pieces into 3 1,000-ton blocks, the mission to move them would be nearly impossible. Although it may seem far-fetched and be no more than a myth, an ancient writer known as Herodotus of the Arab world, called the Herodotus of the Arab world, called Abdul Hassan Ali al-Masudi, was of the idea that humankind knew the secrets of levitation. Specifically, the Arab historian wrote in ancient Egyptian times, when the first pyramids were being built, the ancient Egyptians possessed a kind of magical papyrus that was fitted around the stones, causing them to float after being hit with a metallic rod. These stones would then move along a path paved with stones and fenced on each side with metallic poles. According to al-Masudi, the stones could be moved for 50 meters, after which the process was repeated as many times as needed to get them to their desired location. I'm not saying this is necessarily the case, and that magic was used to move and build some of the most impressive monuments the world's ever seen, but what if? And again, you have to look at the definition of magic. What does that mean? Well, it just means whoever's observing it doesn't really understand the mechanics of it, so it becomes
Yeah.
magic. I can't help but wonder whether al-Masudi was objective when he discussed the stones' movement using magical papyri, and whether he, like many others, was simply left awestruck by the monuments and couldn't explain their existence in other ways. Even the Roman writer Pliny, guy's name was Pliny, okay, who condemned Egypt's pyramids as idle and foolish exhibit of royal wealth, found much to wonder at when observing the pyramids. Pliny wrote, "The most curious question is how the stones were raised to so great a height. This is probably something that people have wondered about for millennia, perhaps even in ancient Egyptian times, when the kings, such as Tutankhamun, ruled over the land of pyramids and mummies." Bruce Cathy wrote one book I find interesting, and it's called The Bridge to Infinity. In the book, Cathy just explains how a priest in monasteries high in the Tibetan Himalayas had achieved and mastered levitation feats. Although Cathy's writings may seem controversial, I find the following quote from his book exceptional. And here it is. It says, "One day, his friend took him to a place in the neighborhood of the monastery and showed him the sloping meadow, which was surrounded in the northwest by high cliffs. In one of the rock walls, at the height of about 250 meters, was a big hole which looked like an entrance to a cave. In front of this hole, there was a platform on which the monks were building a rock wall. The only access to this platform was from the top of the cliff, and the monks lowered themselves down with the help of ropes. In the middle of the meadow, about 250 meters from the cliff, was a polished slab of rock with a bowl-like cavity in the center. The bowl had a diameter of 1 meter and a depth of 15 centimeters. A block of stone was maneuvered into this cavity by yak oxen. The block was 1 meter wide and 1.5 meters long. Then 19 musical instruments were set in an arc of 90 degrees at a distance of 63 meters from the stone slab. The radius of 63 meters was measured out accurately. The musical instruments consisted of 13 drums and 6 trumpets, or ragdons. Behind each instrument was a row of monks. When the stone was in position, the monk behind the small drum gave a signal to start the concert. The small drum had a very sharp sound and could be heard even with the other instruments making a terrible din. All the monks were singing and chanting in prayer, slowly increasing the tempo of this unbelievable noise. During the first 4 minutes, nothing happened. Then, as the speed of the drumming and the noise increased, the big stone block started to rock and sway, and suddenly it took off into the air with an increasing speed in the direction of the platform. The front of the cave hole, 250 meters high. After 3 minutes of ascent, it landed on the platform. Continuously, they brought new blocks to the meadow, and the monks using this method transported 5 to 6 blocks per hour on a parabolic flight track, approximately 500 meters long and 250 meters high. From time to time, a stone split, and the monks moved the split stones away. I'd love to think that something like this is possible, and that ancient civilizations may have used technologies that made their job easier. I feel compelled to believe that the stones such as those at Göbekli Tepe were not quarried with rocks or sticks and stones, but people were already in possession of artifacts, misunderstood today, that made it possible for them to move and position megalithic structures. So there you go. Pretty interesting stuff, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was just thinking about it. Like, I mean, people back then believed in magic and miracles and all that. I feel like more than we do today. So I
Sure.
believe people might be thinking like, well, why didn't we read more about them? I mean, wasn't it a common belief that miracles and magic happened all the time? So like, it wasn't a magnificent event for them, maybe.
Yeah, but you have to
don't know.
understand also that, okay, so miracles and magical things were considered common in the ancient world, but they were very closely guarded secrets. They were societies built on secrecy and absolute non-sharing of information. They were secret societies of different kinds that would hoard their information, because knowledge is power. Well, so is the ability to do things. So I think that if anything, what happened is they probably had some measure of these abilities, but they just didn't share them with anyone. And then if something like a deluge comes, where does that knowledge go? It doesn't go anywhere. It just disappears. So I think it's probably symptomatic of, secrecy and, not sharing those kind of ideals and beliefs, because you don't want to empower the bad guys, but you don't want to disempower the good guys. So you keep it secret. I mean, even today, the world hasn't changed. There's secrets on secrets. The secrets have secrets. So,
Secrets have secrets. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's the same thing. Same thing even today, so even if like tomorrow, if tomorrow suddenly our world would just fall away, most of what we know would probably be lost, just because the way that we do have it stored knowledge, it's, on electric, computer mediums, on some books and stuff, but none of those are real long lived. So within
You take away the power and then it's all gone.
yeah, the power, the computer stuff goes away, and a book, maybe 100 years and some longer, but generally speaking, most books would disappear within a century. So there would be no written record of most of this. And it would be up to the next rise of technology to go, what did they do? How'd they do this? We found the remnants of these huge cities. How'd they do that?
Yeah, and how many iterations of humanity have risen and fallen anyway?
Well,
as
that's
far
a
as
great,
like
big
the
question.
things we've been reading too.
Yeah.
At some points.
That is the $1 million question for sure. The Tartarian Empire. Yeah, Ramon. There you go. Tartaria. Ramon has an interesting question. Let's see. Where is it? Let's see what Ramon's question is. I'm going up. Hi, Ramon. Where's your question, Ramon? It's got to go way up. Sorry. Batman, learn to split the atom, and what we do, we use it to heat water, make steam, turn turbines, etc. Just a coal burning power plant, just like new fuel. Yeah, it is kind of sad. You're right. I was thinking about that the other day too. It's like, yeah, so we can heat water so much better now with the splitting of atoms. It's like, yes, that's all we could do is just figure out new ways to heat up the old stuff. Yeah, it's not a big thing. I'm looking. I don't see Ramon's question. Where is it?
Went way past it. It looks like he just asked, "Have you heard of Tartaria?"
Yeah, I've heard of Tartaria. I'm not well versed on it at all, but I've heard that it's a legendary space or country that seems to have existed somewhere in the position of maybe modern Europe now, but I don't know. It's definitely in a northern hemisphere thing, I think, because they found a globe that actually has Tartaria listed on the globe. It's an old antique globe, so I don't know. But I don't know a lot about it. I'd be interested in learning more, though. But I don't know much. So, Ramon, if you have information about that, send it over. I'd be happy to feature it on the shows as well. Articles can be...
Tartaria is supposedly an alternate history, Ramon says.
Yeah, I saw that.
Between China and Russia.
Between China and Russia, okay, yeah. So, somewhere in the Slavic nations there somewhere. But, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. From the gypsies. The gypsies knew it all. Never know. You never know the Romanian. But, yeah, I think there's just, the amount of information that has just gotten lost. It's sad. It really is sad because, if you think of civilization, it's a building of ideas and a building of ability based on ideas and collective problem solving. But when you hit these reboots like floods or ice ages or something like that, it's a clean sweep. I mean, it really is. It's a very clean sweep. And then you're back at, people kind of mulling around in caves until they can get out and start rebuilding, I guess. And I think that's happened many times. There's it's like things get rebooted. Like the world gets rebooted every once in a while. I don't know why, but it seems like it's almost intentional. Like when we get to a certain point, it's like, okay, scrub it. Let's go back to source code on this one.
Yeah.
So, hard to say,
it's
though.
Scarier to think that it could be us destroying ourselves over and over.
Well,
that's the scary part.
It's either that or it makes perfect sense,
Well, in a way, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, good to see you guys.
So I said like divorce.
What? Like a divorce.
Like a divorce.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll scrub your base for sure. No, that's fine. They got rebranded. They get rebranded. What's rebranded? Yeah. I mean, it's great. Great thoughts. Yeah, I'd like to know more about Tartaria. It's interesting you should say that because I just happened on that. Antique Globe does seem to state where Tartaria was. And I was like, oh, Tartaria, I know I've heard that on and off through the years, but just as like a side reference to things. And, I think it would be great to learn more. Learn more. That's the whole journey of the portal is to learn more. And hopefully you are learning more, ladies and gentlemen.
Every day.
Every day, Sheldon. All right, so we're going to make our way over to some Black-Eyed Kids stories. Are you ready?
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. What do you think of Black-Eyed Kids, Sheldon?
Terrifying.
They find them terrifying?
Ominous.
Ominous, yeah. Yep.
Very ominous because apparently if you let them in, bad stuff always occurs, whether it's just an illness, whether it's death, whether it's just being knocked out. That seems like it varies kind of what happens.
Yeah, it does. It does. Batman, we're going to... I was just telling Batman we're going to give away his T-shirt in the second hour. Thank you again for your donation, Batman.
Yes, thank you, Batman.
Yeah, so... Yeah, I think Black-Eyed Kids are interesting. I don't know there's a lot of genuine stories out there. I know there's a lot of stories out there. And I think some of them could be genuine, but I think some of them are just creative writing. I think there's a lot of that, unfortunately. And so it's hard to drill down to what's the real black-eyed kid phenomena versus what did people think to write about that phenomena this week? That's the hard part. Again,
I hate creative writing
I
in that
know,
way.
I know. But the thing is that with most of this phenomena that we discuss, it has a long trail of historical observation. Bigfoot, for example, Sasquatch, Yeti, Erins, any number of names the world over. But there's such a baseline. There's such a baseline of consistent points that occur in sightings. So it does seem to make it easier, at least on first glimpses, to dismiss some stuff that doesn't follow the established patterns. Not that somebody couldn't have a completely unique and unusual experience, but it's just unlikely. Like so many things are standard with Bigfoot. Like I could hear someone walking. I looked. I couldn't see it. I saw this figure in the woods. It was huge, enormous, and it was kind of standing behind a tree and tree peeking. Rocking back and forth, looking out and looking back. And there's so many things that are really standard. And so when you hear Bigfoot reports, you kind of look for those hallmarks. And if the story hits enough of them, it's like, yeah, this ties in with countless other stories I've heard. And so you can establish that at least it has a baseline. Ghosts, the same thing. It's like, starts out subtle, things escalate, maybe targeting somebody, maybe, any number of things like that. And so you kind of establish that baseline. But some things like Black-Eyed Kids, there's so few stories out there. It's hard to really drill into the phenomena because there's no real established baseline other than they show up, they knock on your door, they always want to use the phone, and they seem to have a level of compulsion where they make you feel like you want to let them in, even though you don't want to let them in. But people's, genetic fear kicks in, and they go, nope, 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 and it overrides, and usually it's fine. But outside of those few, just 2 or 3 established norms, there isn't a lot to go on with these things. Where do they come from? Where do they go? I mean, with Bigfoot, where do they go? Well, back out to the forest, I guess, is probably a good guess. Where do ghosts go? Probably
from Cotton Joe.
Yeah. And with ghosts, well, they go probably into maybe a more dormant, energetic state until something else shakes them out of that reverie or whatever. But these Black-Eyed Kids just kind of show up, and it is almost arbitrary. It's almost like, well, why did they show up then? What was going on that they showed up there and then? And it's hard to say. But where do ghosts show up? Well, if you do any remodeling, you're going to find out if you got haunting. Because the moment you start changing things is the moment those energies seem to come right to active. Move right to active.
So interesting.
Yep.
As a speaking of like rare phenomenon,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think is the rarest phenomenon of legitimate happenings? I don't mean cryptids, I mean everything.
Honestly, probably people having angel encounters seems to be extraordinarily rare, where people are seeing and encountering angels. I think that angels probably interact with us regularly. It's just we don't normally see it. We just experience the benefit of their presence more than anything. But I don't think that they generally appear. I think they just act as a guiding force. But so I don't know, just off the cuff, I would probably say something like angels, maybe one of the rarest. Very rarely do I see stories like that. And it's not to suggest they're not there. It's just they're not they don't seem to be into the theatrics too much.
Yeah, like the blinding light and the spreading wings. And
as cool as that would be. As cool as that would be. Third man encounters, Rachel says. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, I don't know a lot about that, but I think that's interesting.
It is the third man encounter.
Well, ask Rachel. I don't even know how to paraphrase it.
I read.
I think it's just I think it's just like two people are walking along and somebody else will observe another man there that it wasn't there, kind of thing is just
Oh.
rudimentarily what I understand. But again, it's a new concept to me. Rachel brought it up when I showed a trail cam thing. I was like, third man encounter, huh? That's interesting.
Oh.
And I don't know a lot about it. I know I've heard that term before, but again, nobody knows everything about this stuff. Rachel probably knows a hell of a lot more about more of this stuff than I do, to be honest with you. So
She's a researcher.
she is. She's a she's a machine. All right.
I like RJ's comment. The rarest is finding a good girlfriend.
Poor Sheldon. Poor
Oh my
Sheldon. She's
gosh.
out there waiting for you, buddy. She's waiting
She's
for you.
out there.
She's waiting for you. You're gonna find her, by God. All right. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Sheldon is single. You know that's
Okay,
right.
Dad, let's chill. Let's take it easy. All right, take it easy.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. All right.
Okay.
Let's get to these black-eyed kids encounters. You guys tell me what you think. This is a thought catalog article, and under spooky, which would be about right. Now, again, as I stated, there isn't a lot of black-eyed kids encounters out there. So, chances are we're going to be hear some repeats that you've heard before. But it's just because there's a limited pool. This is only 16 of them listed in this article, and I haven't pre-read it. But this is by Chrissy Stockton. She's one of their staff writers over there. Does a nice job. We've featured several of her articles on the shows, and always enjoyed them. And this is from May 19th, 2021. Let's go to the first one. This is Midnight Caller. Is this a Reddit one? This one's already first one's pretty big. That's by a No Sleep, so it might be creative writing. Is No Sleep considered creative writing, or is that usually real things?
No sleep.
Yeah, it's on Reddit. No Sleep. I think.
I have heard of that thread. I don't know actually. That might be more of a creative writing.
That's
portion.
kind of what I'm thinking, but I don't know. I'm not a big Reddit enthusiast. Like I don't have anything against it. I just don't spend any time over on there. But let's read it anyway. It says Midnight Caller. It almost felt like a dream. I woke up to my dog Lucy barking. She was upright on the bed where my husband and I were sleeping with our 22-month-old daughter staring at our door like an unknown stranger was out there rummaging around. I thought she was just freaking out over a house noise. We'd only had her for 3 months, and she was still just a puppy. I could have been anything. Our roommate, a creak on the house, settling, the awnings moving outside in the breeze. Wasn't too concerned initially. I decided the best bet would be to open the door and show her nothing was out there. Ooh, wow. That's where you started? It sounds a bit silly, but it's like what we do with our daughter when she gets scared, and I figured it should work with a puppy too. Well, I opened the door, and she raced to the front door and stood there snarling at the door. It was angry, violent growl, one that I had never heard her make before. I looked groggily at her and then opened the baby gate, blocking the doorway, planning to open the door and show her everything was okay. The second my hand reached the deadbolt, Lucy went wild. She started barking and jumped up towards me, and when I touched the metal, she suddenly changed her temper. She whimpered, almost like she was afraid, and was backing down. As her mannerism changed, so did mine. I wasn't calm anymore. My heart was racing and sinking at the same time. I'd been flooded with a mixture of fear and dread. I looked through the peephole, and I can't explain why I looked, but I did. Outside were two kids. One was just a smidgen shorter than me and didn't look much younger. I'm 21, and she looked to be about 16 or 17. She was slender and pale. Her hair was a light shade of honey blonde, and she wore it long, about mid-back, with long, thin, blunt bangs in the front that covered most of her eyes. She wore jeans, a light wash that's popular right now, and thin-looking olive-colored pullover style hoodie. She held the hand of a small girl who looked to be around 3 or 4 years old. in the same jeans and button-down ivory cardigan. The smaller one looked at the floor shyly, but had the same shade of hair, tied back in a ponytail. She held a stuffed toy under her free arm, and it was identical to one my daughter has, which was their style of dress, as was their style of dress. Had it not been for the feeling of overwhelming dread and fear, I probably would have asked these children in and given them some tea or hot cocoa to get them out of the bitter cold. But something about them seemed off. At this point, I hadn't made any noise, so I hadn't hushed the dog or grumbled. Nothing. I hadn't turned on any lights, as these kids had no indicators that I was at the door. But the older one spoke. She had a voice that was mature, confident, and strong, accentless, and she held her head tilted downward, and I couldn't see her eyes. She said, "We have to use your phone." I stood frozen in fear. How did she know I was there? She raised her head to face me directly, and that was when I saw her eyes. There was a reason I couldn't see them through her bangs before. They were black, or midnight blue, or dark purple. They were otherworldly, and she said, "Our mother is worried." As someone who's always been interested in creepy stories, I knew what she was the second she looked at me through the door. I've never been one to believe in these things as a staunch atheist and skeptic when it comes to the paranormal. I'd written off many a ghost story from friends, family members, eager to tell their tale. I just didn't believe it. Still, I couldn't rationalize my way out of this one. I was standing with nothing but a thin wooden door between me and a black-eyed kid. There was no questioning what she was in front of me. I didn't answer her. Slowly and silently, I backed away from the door, Lucy still cowering at my ankles. She kept talking. "Just let us in to use your phone." I took another step back. And with that step, the tone changed. At first, she seemed polite. When I took that second step back, she became commanding, almost hostile. "We're not going to hurt you. If we wanted to do that, we would have broken in. I'll ask again, may we come in and use your phone?" Lucy snarled at the door, and I inched backward, though something inside of me seemed to be slowly pulling me back towards the door. It wasn't a physical pulling, so much as a subsequent need to go back and let them in. I got to my room, covered the window, locked the door, and sat there in the dim light of the nightlight. I heard her call me back to the door once more, and then quiet. I didn't go back to sleep that night, and I haven't slept right since. I know from reading about them that black-eyed kids can't just come in without permission. I know they haven't hurt anyone, but I still fear I'll be the exception. When I told my husband, he said it was just a dream. He keeps telling me to forget it, but this lingering feeling of sadness, this dread, when the house is silent at night, this fear of a knock at the door, this tells me something otherwise. Yikes.
Hey.
That's the other part of us. They always seem to know. They know the minute you're there. And that's the compulsion. Like, you feel like you want to. You feel like you want to help them. You know, and maybe some of that is just emotional. But maybe some of it is also like being compelled. Like the old vampire stories of, mesmerizing the victim. So I don't know. It's just really strange. That's
the cameras are still on us, by the way. Just so you know.
Oh, well, we're good looking guys.
I didn't know if you intended to have the story up on screen or not.
Oh, I didn't. I guess not usually. I usually put the article up there so people can read along with us. Do the dancing cursor.
Yeah.
Follow
Maybe they don't want to wait. Maybe they want to read the whole thing right in front of their eyes.
I know. That's like Don. Every time I do a news story, somebody's looking at the headlines and he's already chuckling or something before I even read it. Don, no cheating. That's funny.
Oh, that's I don't know, the way it's written, it always sounds like there's like this desperation, like they need to get in there, they need to be in there.
Well,
it's very interesting.
Interestingly enough, I think I mean, if you break down what they are, they've got to be some kind of, if anything, like a spiritual parasite that needs to feed on something. And maybe it's the fear we generate in those encounters. Like that's what they feast on. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they get a little feast on just that little bit.
Yeah. So like that might be enough. But if you open the door, then they give you a, parting gift as well, like some kind of rash or infection or necrotic
So
tissue or something. Yeah.
yeah, so either way, it could be a win-win for them no matter what.
Yeah. But I mean, that's all I can think of because again, you think of nature, how creative nature is with its methods of predation. I mean, you got freaking what are those damn things? Those mantises that look like flowers. I
Yeah,
mean, they look like little flowers, and they hang out on the flowers they look like it's almost brilliant. Like
yeah.
there's an intelligence here, and it's so creative. And so appearing like a child is the first thing. And I use this example for child spirits. It's like if you want somebody to lower their defenses, look helpless. That's like rule one of natural predation. Look like you're helpless or like you're nothing at all to worry about, nothing to see here. And so appearing like a child is like the first disarming thing for an adult. Because if you're a normal adjusted person, you're going to want to help. It's just kind of coded into our genetics. And that's a good thing, except in this situation. And then secondly, it's just they seem to have the ability to at least somewhat control the emotional state of the person. Like the fear seems to be some, again, genetic warning that might be coded into us from dealing with these things for God knows how long. But the other part of it is they do seem to be able to inject their will into us as well. Open the door. I think it was Brian Bethel, the guy that kind of came up with the Black Eyed Kids name. He was the reporter that had the encounter when he was writing out bills in a parking lot and they came up to his car. But he said he was sitting there and he's absolutely terrified. But he noticed his arm reaching like on its own accord to open the door. And it freaked him out because he wasn't doing that. He had no intention of opening the door. But it's like something else overrode that and was like, oh, I think you'll be opening that door now. So it's very, very creepy.
Now the mantises, was it the orchid mantis?
Sure.
Miss Firejack was asking.
I guess. I mean, I'm not an entomologist, but yeah, some mantises that look exactly like little flowers. And they look like the flowers that they hang out on. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like octopus. They'll be swimming along and boom, they're a piece of coral. You can't see them all of a sudden. It's like, where the hell did they
Yeah.
go? But
Yeah.
it's like there's an intelligence to it. So I
Well,
think
there's even snakes I've seen on YouTube that their tail looks like a spider, and so they'll just like do this and be waiting in camouflage
Sure.
for like a predator to come get the spider.
the spider, yeah.
So
Oops.
yeah,
Oops.
and it's true, that vulnerability, and it's so weird. It's adapt, like evolution is so crazy in that way.
Right, but it's I mean, at what point did some little mantis ancestor go, we'd probably do a lot better if we looked like those flowers. We should probably work on that. I mean,
I know.
it's almost like
So
there was an intelligent choice made there somewhere. And I just, I mean, it really makes me think about intelligent design pretty seriously. It's like there's got to be an intelligence behind this. How does a bug know that if it looks like a stick, it's probably going to be okay for most predators? And so
well, even
it
beyond
looks like a stick.
even beyond
And
even
there's
beyond that, how do their cells know to develop like that?
well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, this is all the big conundrum. Or those moths that look like big bird faces when they spread their wings out. It's like, the smaller birds go, there's a bigger bird here, take off, and run. Where did they
Yeah.
figure out, hey, if I put a couple circles on those wings, it's going to look like a bird. This will work. It's like this intelligent problem solving that happened, and it just boggles my mind.
Oh, so fascinating.
Right. It's like, how can this just be random? How can
Yeah.
any of that be random? So, yeah, very strange. All right, let's go to the next one. This is a real life example of a black eyed kid. This is apparently a photo.
Ooh.
I don't know. I'm just reading it for the first time too. It says black-eyed kids are almost always described the same way. Children between the ages of 6 to 16, pale skin, completely black eyes, and out of date or strange clothing. What their black eyes make them look strange, what generally frightens people, isn't their appearance, but the sudden presence of an overwhelming feeling of terror that accompanies the kids. I guess it's just an artist rendition of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it said a photo, a real life. It says a real life example of a black-eyed kid. I don't.
Example, but
Yeah,
that's
you
just
see, it was all that. Yeah, yeah. I got caught in the hype. Number 2, the bus encounter. I was riding the bus back home after work. It was about 1 a.m. I'm a security guard and often work odd hours, so I'm sitting there, and this guy gets on, sits across from me. He was wearing a suit, had a briefcase, regular looking guy in his 20s. And what struck me about him at first was that he was chewing on a cigar, not smoking it. You can't smoke on the bus. So I was just looking at him, and he stared out the window and chewed his cigar. And all of a sudden, he turned and looked at me. His eyes were pitch black, just as you described. My heart started beating like mad. And I felt my gorge. What the hell's gorge? I felt my gorge rising. I was starting to panic. I had no idea why. I was just pants pooping terrified of this guy. Then he grinned at me, and his teeth were all covered in tobacco bits, brown juice, and a cigar clamp between them. I almost screamed, but instead, I had the presence of mind to just get up and take the seat right behind the driver. I calmed down a bit after that, but I kept an eye on the guy. He ended up chatting with some girl that got on, and they were still talking when I got off. I later convinced myself he was just trolling me, having fun with a pair of contacts, but now I wonder. Well, see, that is an atypical age, but I will tell you that there's been several examples, even though it came up on Supernatural all the time. People that were possessed by demons would have black eyes.
that's right.
By choice. But there is actual precedence for that in some claims. People have met adults that seem to have normal eyes and then could just look at them and make their eyes go fully black. So it's not without precedence in the paranormal. But again, I don't know if it's factual or just creative writing. So I don't know.
You know what?
Go ahead.
You know what? That actually makes me think.
Yeah?
You ever meet someone that has just a bad vibe to them? Like you just don't like them, and you can't really point to what. What if some of those cases, maybe just one in your lifetime, who knows, but is someone who's a perfect possession?
Yeah, I don't know. There was one time, and I'm sure they were just the little Halloween teeth or whatever. But there was one time my brother, Brian, and I, he's my older brother, we were little guys, and we were like, had our scooters, like our little scooter cars and stuff. And there was a park right near our home. And I think we were near our home. We might've been at my cousin's in Cottage Grove. But anyway, we were there. We were little guys, like, 3-4 years old. And we kind of scooted our little bikes over to this playground area. It was like maybe a block away. And when we got there were 2 kids playing. It was a bright, sunny day. But we were all just kind of playing, and they just ignored us. And we just kind of ignored them. And we're just doing what we were doing. And all of a sudden, both of those kids started snarling and opening their mouths. And they had like vampire teeth. Like, like that.
Oh.
Now, I'm about a 3-year-old kid. And I'm not saying this is paranormal at all, but it's the first time I ever saw this in my life. I never had that tin car moving so fast in my life. Getting it home, I'm scooting all the way home. Like, yeah. I remember going home and bawling. I was just terrified because these kids suddenly were like evil and hissing and had sharp teeth. And I didn't know what the hell to do with that. And for the life of me, I don't know if those teeth were common back then or not. I mean, this is the early 70s, so maybe, I guess. I don't know, but it was just, wow. Really, it's still in here. It's still in here. It made that much of an impact. Seeing those gross teeth and their eyes were
Core
just,
memory.
yeah. I mean, it's literally, it's like part of me, and just their eyes just look so twisted as well. Like they were pretty good character actors for a couple, 5, 6 year olds. I mean, they sold it good because I believed every bit of it, and I was done.
And
I was so
that's
done.
that's where Dad's fascination with the paranormal came from. There
Yeah,
you go,
it might
guys.
be right there, folks. You might have just heard the actual origin story of where I've been drawn into this twisted path. But yeah, true story. I just, the funny thing was, I just remembered that. I remembered it on and off through the years. But it's one of those things you just never really think of. But since we're talking about, black-eyed kids, well, they weren't black-eyed, but they were fang-teeth kids. And that was good enough for me, man. I was all done. I just, I never could get that damn thing. It was one of those, those metal cars that you had to like pedal, and you push one pedal and then you push the other one. I could never get it to go where I could just pedal it. Like maybe for 3 or 4 times and then it'd just screw up. But man, I was grabbing the sides of that thing, scooting my butt and dragging it as fast as I could to get back to the home. We were both bawling. We were both just terrified. It was,
Oh my
it was,
god.
it was a horrible experience. I don't know if my brother remembers it or not. He probably long since forgot that. I wonder if he would remember if I brought it up to him. That's a funny story, but God, that was a terrible moment in my young life. I didn't want to play in the park anymore. That's all I know. I was all done.
Question before I forget.
Sure.
I was having a conversation with a friend of mine recently.
Okay.
And what do you think of the theory? Just your thoughts on it. The theory that people like psychopaths are without a soul. Or is it a very, very young soul or whatever? That whole theory. What do you think of that?
I don't know. I wondered. I've often thought that is there a possibility there's just organic presences here, and then there's just other things, and I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't know if it would be soulless, but just a darkened soul, maybe, or
Yeah,
I don't know. Such a hard question to just go.
it
Well,
is.
I think this or that. I don't know. It could be
Is
any
it?
number of
Yeah.
things. It could be a possession. It could be a oppression. It could be just something broke in that person, and they just don't have the feeling of compassion anymore. Like maybe they lost their soul somehow. See, I always equate the idea of us having a soul with us. I don't think
Yeah.
a soul is something we carry in a pocket somewhere. It's us. It's our personality and such. But that doesn't mean to imply that all souls are wonderful either. Not all people are geared towards everyone's best and highest good. There's some people that are absolutely fine with my highest good and screw you. So I don't know.
Well, that's what I wonder because like people who are psychopaths lack complete empathy.
Yeah.
And kind of like Meg is implying, lack of empathy, lack of self leads to the question, what is the soul? So in that case,
Well, a soul is
is it an organic husk and that maybe there isn't anyone home? in a
maybe it's
sense?
shattered. Maybe it's a fragment of a soul or something. I don't know. I mean, by virtue of being alive, I think you have a soul, but it doesn't mean it's in a good state. Doesn't even mean it's a good soul. It just means you got one. May not be a real bright outlook ahead, but you got one. I don't know. That's a tough one. It's not that kind of question would have to be really thought out, and I don't know if
Oh, yeah.
anybody's qualified to answer it, but I'd really have to formulate a response to that. Really.
Yeah, I didn't even have a response to that person. I was like, oh God, it's a tough question. I don't know.
I mean, it could be. I mean, what do we really know about the world around us?
Yeah.
I mean, we know quite a bit, but then again, we know very little, especially about the spiritual world around us. And what do we know about souls? Even less.
Yeah.
I think that I do believe that we are created, like we're not just these, electrochemical, aberrations that somehow sprung out of the primordial soup. I think that, we were formed with intent, and we hopefully live and aspire to grow into more with intent, some divine purpose. But I don't know what else is there. There's probably a lot of other stuff out there, in a part of the mix. Yeah, that's a tough one, man.
Yeah. No,
That's
I agree. I agree.
yeah, that's a tough one
Mhm.
for me anyway. I'm not saying it's tough for anybody to answer. I would really have to think about that.
Yeah,
That's very
it's a tough one. I didn't
very
have an
deep.
answer either. I just wondered if you did.
Not right off the cuff anyway.
That's fair.
Not right off the cuff. I think we're gonna switch to the cryptid corner because we got like 25 minutes left. 20 minutes left.
I'm actually gonna get started on the wheel then.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, can you guys do a shout outs, please? If you're here, and you have to be on YouTube to do it, because I don't even know if there's anybody on Twitch. Twitch is more of a formality right now, but we're hoping it'll grow into a presence of its own over time. But
We'll get there.
we'll get there. I don't think anything is created overnight, especially in the online streaming communities. But just give Sheldon a hello or let him know you're here, and so
Yeah.
he can populate the T-shirt giveaway sponsored by Batman, our very own YouTube chatter, Batman, and Discord chatter. And yeah, please do. And you
Are
could
we
win a
counting
T-shirt.
previous winners?
Yeah, if you've won a shirt, please let somebody else have a turn. So if you don't mind, if you've already won a shirt, let Sheldon know that you're not in the running. I would love for us to allow many people to win. So but Wizard, didn't you win a shirt? Wizard, I know. Didn't I send you a shirt? I think I did.
Didn't Karen win one?
Yeah, Karen did. Yep.
Karen did. Okay.
Yep. Yep. Karen already has one. Leave me off. Yeah, thank you. I just want to give everybody a chance, and this is an opportunity. You don't have to be a member for this. You just got to be here watching live right now to win one of Batman's shirts. Well, it's our shirt, but Batman bought it for you. Whoever you are. I already won last year.
Great.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Firejack.
Wait, I think John left. Oh, I think John left. I thought I remember him saying he's going.
John who? John
O'Brien.
Demprin? Oh, okay. Well, I said you had to be here to win, so that's,
Right. Okay. All right. Fair
that's all
enough.
there is. And John, if you're here, let us know. Grumpy Owl says, hello, Sheldon.
Hello, Grumpy Owl.
Cat Doherty says here. Yeah, that'd be great. So we'll do that now. And then we'll maybe get a cryptid story in before the end of the road tonight. I hope you guys like us expanding the coverage to like Black Eyed Kids when we can find it, and the possible alternate technologies of the ancient past. I think that stuff's all fun to discuss, and we don't do enough of it.
True.
So I hope you guys like it. Just
Hey,
trying to
Mora,
bring you the
Did you win a
fun.
shirt at one point?
Who?
Did Mora win a shirt? I can't remember.
Barbara? I don't think so. I don't think Barbara.
It's on the list.
I don't think Barbara did. Oh yeah, Hardwick, you want one on Discord? Yeah. So yeah, take Hardwick off there. Yep. Yeah, I mean, if you want one on anywhere, love the content tonight. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you. I hope so. I just keep wanting to give you the best portal I know how. Keep you entertained.
Fucker.
And remember, tomorrow night, first night, for our new co-host, Jimmy Cipriano is going to be here. He's going to be tearing up the airwaves with me.
Beautiful.
We'll see what he's got to offer. We'll put him to the mix. See what he's got to offer. Send all the woo.
Wait, Wizard did, right?
Yeah, Wizard won.
Okay.
Wizard, was I
He's-
right? You did win, right? I'm right, right? I'm right, right?
So, in that case, that's everyone so far.
Okay. All right, so last chance if you're not on the list or if you haven't gotten a shout out, but you'd like to be considered for a free t-shirt giveaway, let Sheldon know. Horse rate 50
Now's the
years.
time.
Yeah, Wizard says I already won. Okay, thank you, Wizard.
Yeah.
All right.
That
So
is everyone then.
that's everyone. Sheldon's loading them onto his wheel of, or did you already?
They're all loaded.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. Well, it's time to figure out who is the winner of the t-shirt giveaway sponsored by Batman. And
Batman.
let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. And the winner
All right.
is
SoCal Squatcher.
SoCal Squatcher walking away with a free t-shirt tonight. SoCal, if you would please, you can either on Discord message me directly or send me an email at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com and let me know your shirt size and an address to send it to. Name and address. It'll remain confidential. I don't have any desire to dox anyone. I'm not going to dox
Definitely
anyone.
not, no.
Not going to be doxing. So
No
congratulations, SoCal. Oh, hell yes. Thank you, Batman. We were here too, SoCal.
I did the wheel. Where's my thanks?
No, that's very cool. Thank you, Batman.
That's great.
That's
great.
awesome. Appreciate it. Now you really have to learn Discord. Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
All right. We're going to do, what do we got time for? Oh, God. We really haven't enough time for anything. I guess we can do another Black Eyed Kid story because we're not even going to have time for the cryptids.
Oh, God.
That's
okay. One more.
Well, let's see what else is left here. We got 10 facts about the Black Eyed Kids. This is an interesting. Let's see how factual their facts are. And again, probably already preaching to the choir here, but Black Eyed Kids look like normal human children between the ages of 6 and 16, but with pale skin and completely black eyes. Additionally, people who have been in close proximity to Black Eyed Kids report a feeling of unease that washed over them. While nothing about the children's appearance, aside from the eyes, genuinely frightened the people, they still reported feelings ranging from anxiety to terror at their presence. Next is some people have also reported seeing black-eyed kids that have talons for feet. Oh, that's a new take.
Oh.
Or other demonic attributes. But most sightings are of seemingly normal children. Could you imagine seeing talon feet? Yeah. No, thanks.
Oh, like a harpy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Let's see. Black-eyed kids are also commonly described as wearing dated clothing or dressing in a manner that's not typical of a normal child of their age. A lot of times it'll be like way old clothing, looking from like the 1920s or something.
Yeah, we need to try hard.
Yeah, need to get some fashion updates. Black-eyed children always ask for something. It is always something that involves being in close quarters with you. They will ask for a ride in your vehicle or to enter your home to use the phone. There are no reported stories of what happens when you let a black-eyed kid into your vehicle or home. Not true, but anyway. All stories come from people whose eerie feelings made them flee from the children. The earliest sighting of a black-eyed kid was journalist Brian Bethel, 1996. The story has been added to internet creepypasta lore, but to this day, Bethel insists the incident was real and happened the way he reported. In 2014, British paper reported that sightings of black-eyed kids around the world are rising. And theories about black-eyed kids are that they are vampires, aliens, or of demonic origin.
I could see vampires. I could see that.
Well, I mean, a lot of it is very, very similar to our Hollywoodized version of vampires. Yeah. So, the whole they can't gain entrance without permission, and they seem to, when they do come in contact with people, they get sick, and a lot of people would claim to have been bitten by the vampire and became ill if they didn't drain them completely.
Yeah.
So there are parallels definitely to the vampire lore, but I don't know how accurate the lore is to what real vampires are. And I suspect not much, but
yeah,
perhaps there's some merit to it. But anyway, yeah, I'd love to do more with vampires. I really would. But again, it's really tough to research. I was really thrilled when I found the one person. I didn't find him; he found me. But the one person that I'd ever heard of contact me directly, saying, I've encountered these things, and we talked by email several times. And I was like, "Hey, would you like to come on the show?" He's like, "Sure, I think so." Excuse me. Getting all that garbage up, but yeah, I love I'd love to dig into that more. I am honestly, I'm actually feel a little trepidation about it too, because I do often wonder if there's a subculture of actual creatures in this world like that maybe have much like the, and it sounds maybe even cheesy, but they have their own society, their own culture, their own rules, and maybe they do farm people, but maybe they farm them more on the, on the real down low, where it's not like a whole neighborhood disappears or something. It's people here and there just go. But the descriptions from that actual witness were actually really unnerving. They were really creepy. Not what I would want to see. I can't imagine
That's
a
true.
4-year-old looking out a window and seeing this bloated looking man with purple like skin, like looked like dead skin and kind of bloated, just with radiating red eyes, looking like at him, like trembling because it wants to get hold of him so bad.
Oh God.
That's what he saw. And he said he turned his head to yell for his mom or dad to come look. And by the time he turned back, just literally, Mom, come here, and turned back, it was like 50 yards away, jumping over a fence.
Oh my God.
That's like scary. I mean, that's terrifying. Terrifying
Oh,
stuff. Wow. Whatever it is.
oh my, that's nightmare fuel. Oh my God.
Yeah. You have to, if you want to learn more, I think it was season 3 or season 2. It's vampire. No, it's season 3. It's 3 or yeah, it's 3. And it was a great interview. Very interesting. I think the guy's name was Paul, and he's the one that shared it. And he had one other encounter as an adult, seeing them again,
Wow.
seeing one of them again, not the same one, but he felt like he was maybe tagged somehow, like they always knew where he was, and they were kind of showing him that they could be near anytime. So, very
That's
strange.
true.
Very strange, but it's also strange how quickly these shows go by. I'll tell you that.
Oh my God, 2 minutes. Holy jeez.
Holy she's is
Okay.
right. And I don't know about y'all, but I hope you've had a good journey here, and I hope you've had a good time, and I hope you'll be back tomorrow night. Help me welcome Jimmy to the show, and it'll be good to have him on here. I'm looking forward to that. Jimmy's a good guy. He's again, he's a stand-up comedian as well as a film editor and producer and such, and just a wonderfully talented guy, and great sense of humor, great personality. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun just talking tomorrow night about all this weird stuff. So he's going to be coming on here and there whenever he can. And well, it'll be nice to have him, because I don't mind doing the solo shows, but I've done a lot of them lately. I'm like, it's nice when someone else is here. When you were sick or when you're not able to make it, and, Don was dealing with a bunch of stuff. It was like, I did like a month of shows, mostly just me. So yeah, the vampire episode I was talking about. Yep. It does go quick. Always a great show. Thank you, Karen. And tell Neil he's making that shirt look good. I like that photo in Discord. Awesome. But I guess that's it. Sheldon, anything in closing?
Absolutely, guys. Check out the Discord. The link is in the chat, as well as check out paranormalportal.net, where you can keep up to date with all the podcasts and new episodes, and get your very own interview if you have anything to share.
Yeah. So lots of goodness coming, folks. I'll be back tomorrow night with Jimmy, and we'll dive into it again for another 2 hours. But we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice, take care of each other, help each other out, find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. And I'll see you tomorrow night, hopefully. Don't be late. I might be bringing donuts. You never know. All right. Until then, I think that's gonna do it. Rolling the credits. You ready, Sheldon?
I'm ready.
All right. Here goes the credits.